Before we get into today's video, I need to give a massive thank you to this Derby Football Club because they came up here with fantastic support and they made sure it was a level playing field on the park. Instead of playing their nans from down south, they brought actual Derby Football Club players just to make sure it's level, because we all know their nans score 40 goals in our league. So to come here, travelling support, pay all that money and just play their actual players, a lot of credit and a lot of respect.
Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video we're here to discuss and recap the last friendly of the season on. And it was a weird game of football to break down overall. I mean, you look at it, everyone was expecting this to be one of the toughest tests that we've had in pre-season because Derby is a very good footballing side. But I can honestly say, we absolutely slapped them rotten. Honestly, they looked tin pot. Speaking of slapping them rotten, there was one guy I really wanted to slap. I think his name was Tom Lawrence. It's definitely Lawrence, the last name. He was just an utter mince pie the entire game. I mean, there should have been a red card in this game. Let's get it out of the way. Okay, I'm not blaming the referees or anything like that. I mean, we won the game, but still, the referee had a shocker. He just volleys Tavernier from behind. Tavernier is away from him. He's once again out-footballed Tom Lawrence, and Lawrence just runs up behind him, volleys him square in the back of the legs, and for whatever reason, the referee just goes and talks to them both. He talks to them both. And I'm sitting back in absolute disbelief thinking, what has just happened? How bad is Dallas at refereeing that he doesn't even give a booking for a guy running up and just volleying someone into the back of the legs? And it wasn't as if this was his first offence. The entire game, Lawrence was leaving it in late on Tavernier every single time. Clearly, no Tavernier guy. And I don't know how you feel about the overall performance, but man, that was a frustrating, stressing game of football because we'd done everything right up to the point where you put the ball into the back of the net. But every time we tried, the Derby goalkeeper was doing this, and this. He was absolutely everywhere. What a performance from the Derby goalkeeper. I can honestly say we made 7 goal-bound shots and they were very tough saves to make. And I don't think I'd ever be starting a video by praising an opposition goalkeeper so highly, but that guy was absolutely top notch. Still hate him though. Rangers 1, Derby 0. Now that was the final score in the game, but I can honestly say it should have been 7 or 8. No, I'm not joking. Now, as expected in yesterday's prediction video, we talked about the potential start for Helander and how it was an important game for not only Helander, but also Nikola Katic, because the way the season is unfolding in terms of competitive games, it kind of looks like, based on performances and Gerrard's selections, it looks like Connor Golton and George Edmondson right now is the first choice centre backs. So there was a lot of pressure going into this game for those two, and that's where I want to start off today's video, because yes, there were so many chances and we will break them down, but the two centre halves for me were absolutely faultless. And I'm actually going to start with Philippe Helander out of the two, because I feel like there's been just a little bit of pressure being applied to this man in terms of playing already. Yes, he is still weeks and weeks away and weeks behind other players on our team. Gerrard has already said that he's about 4 weeks behind in terms of fitness and match ready. That's why he's not taken part in any of the European games so far, why he's only been used in the friendlies. And how many times have we seen over the years somebody with a lot of moolah being spent on him, other players ahead of him playing well, and whenever he's came in to try and win the position, it's just not worked out? Well, I'm quite happy to say, based on that performance, Philippe Helander set everyone, including us and the gaffer, of his qualities, and that is an absolute monster in the air. Honestly, did he lose one header? Not only that though, he seemed to be very vocal. You could see him shouting at the defensive line. This is a guy who's just walked in, but he's almost been more vocal than the captain at right back. He's screaming at people to keep a line. He's screaming at Barisic. I was very impressed with the fact that he's just asserted himself in, and he's clearly shown his leadership qualities already, and that's only his first official start at Rangers. That really shows that he's not feeling any of this pressure. He just believes in his own quality, and you saw that for around about the 68 minutes that he played versus Derby. But it wasn't just his defensive attributes, his leadership quality, or his aerial threat that impressed me. Nah. The big man also showed that he's got a bit of technical ability as well. Going forward at the edge of the box, the ball gets whipped in, he hits it on sort of a half volley. His technique is perfect, rattles it, and somehow the goalkeeper saves it again. However, as one defender went close, the other defender, big Nikola Katic, actually got the job done. Once again, a header from a set piece. I feel like I say this all the time, but Nikola Katic is by far our biggest threat from set pieces. Every single time he plays, he's getting to the header, whether it's putting it back into the area or trying to score himself. Whenever other centre-backs have played last season, like Joe Worrell and Connor Goldson and even McCauley, we never really seemed to be a massive threat from corners. Yes, Connor Goldson scored the odd one and Joe Worrell scored versus Aberdeen, but it wasn't a consistent basis. How many corners did we see wasted? How many free kicks in good areas did we see wasted? But whenever we throw big Katic in there, there's always something happening. His desire to get to that fit ball and maybe even just his awareness of where the ball's going to be is second to none, and he's just a goal scoring threat. Now everyone knows where I stand on Nikola Katic. I absolutely love the big Croatian prince, and certainly last season he deserved to play a hell of a lot more games than he actually played. But it's very interesting when you see Gerrard picked these two centre-backs, because when you think about it, Helander is usually a left-sided centre-back. That's where he's played, and that's where Nikola Katic has played pretty much his entire Rangers career so far, because the far and away first choice at Rangers at centre-half is Connor Goldson. We see that every single time there's a competitive game. So it was almost like Gerrard had put them both out there to almost challenge each other and show who needs to be the other centre-half. But that leads me to my first question of today's video, something I want to ask you right away. Is Connor Goldson right now still the out-and-out first choice centre-back, or could you see a potential with Helander and Katic playing together? Because I'll tell you this anew, they were absolutely dominant in the air versus Derby. They never lost one header. In fact, they never came close to losing any. And that was their first time starting with each other. It looked like they've been playing with each other for 10 years. Now, moving away from the question of today's video, this is usually the part where we turn in and we start breaking down every single chance and sort of recap the entire game. However, it's very hard to do in this game of football because honestly, Rangers had about 13-14 chances to score. The first half, Jordan Jones, Jermaine Defoe came very, very close. I mean, Defoe came that away from scoring. I think he's 5'6". If he was 5'6.5", he'd have scored. That is how tight the margin was. But in order of keeping the video length just slightly longer, because I know you guys didn't want to listen to me all damn day, we're actually just going to focus on a couple of individual players for me personally who really stood up and showed that they are fighting tooth and nail for the jersey. Now, I've talked about the two centre-halves, but I think it's equally important to mention Bornabir Barisic, because again, split right down the middle. We all know how we feel. I mean, sometimes I like him, sometimes I just want him gone. I think that's the perfect way to summarise Bornabir Barisic. But that one, in that game, he showed that he has got a bit of aggression. He threw the shoulder in a couple of times. There was a couple of meaty headers that he went for. He wasn't backing down and he wasn't scared of the physical battle in that game. Now, I don't know if that's because Philippe Helander was absolutely screaming at him constantly, or the fact that he was just raring to go himself, but I feel like it was important to mention because if he's going to bring that level of aggression to his game, he's well more suited to Scottish football, and I can see him being a success. So hopefully we see more of that from Bornabir Barisic. But I'm sort of saving the best till last because I thought Greg Docherty, Glenn Kamara and even Joe Aribo, when he did come on, once again were outstanding. I'm going to talk about my man of the match first, which was Greg Docherty. I know a lot of people is going to probably say Glenn Kamara, and I completely agree. He was fantastic, but Greg Docherty just summarises everything that you want in a player. The willingness to try everything. He's back, he's forth, he's trying to get forward, he's trying to score, but also he'll sprint back tooth and nail to get back and defend as well. I think the perfect way to summarise Greg Docherty is when he dragged that shot in the second half where he probably should have hit it on target. What did he do? He slapped himself in the face. He then shouted at himself, and he was so wound up and so annoyed that he'd let himself down and let his team down that he made sure for the rest of the game every other shot he had was on target. And it's probably the most relatable thing from a football player I've seen in a very long time. That is how much he's willing to fight for the badge, that he's actually smashing himself in the face. Now we need to talk about Glenn Kamara, because it's weird, because the last two games, if we're being 100% honest, that he's played, he's not been quite at it, has he? He's not been 50k Glenn Kamara, everyone sings his song. He's not been up to that level, but today was a return to form. He was absolutely everywhere, and he seemed to relish the opportunity to play against Tom Hiddleston, and they just went for each other. The physical battle, it was interesting to watch, and For whenever he needed to put in a challenge, he put in a challenge, but again, willingness to get forward and supply as well. And he went close a couple of times to scoring 2 very, very good defensive blocks by Darby, and also 1 fantastic curl shot save as well. So he could have even got on the goal scoring sheet, but it was great to see Glenn Kamara back doing Kamara things. And Joe Aribo, honestly, I'm running out of things to say about him. I absolutely just love his way of playing football. He glides by people, he looks quite skinny and not very strong, but you can see it takes 2 people to pull him back. I mean, at one point he was sprinting down the left hand side after winning the ball. 2 Derby players have 1 each at him. It's like they're doing that to him, and the referee goes, there's no contact. He was like that! But did he lose his head? Did he get frustrated with the referee? Did he get in the referee's face? No, he just turned, went like that, shook his head and carried on playing, showing he's right mentally as well. And now that you've watched me sweat my way through today's video, yeah, it's hot again. Now it's time for you guys to get your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. Not only on this game, but the entire friendlies as a whole. Have you seen enough from this Rangers group to suggest that this season we'll see some silverware? For me, to keep it mega short and not spoil my league prediction video, which will be out in a couple of days, make sure to be checking that out. Yes. And while you guys are getting your thoughts and opinions out there, and Rocky Boy Johnson, as always, is making his usual appearance, let's jump over to Twitter and hear from the people. Josh Gibson writes in, good performance. How good was Greg Docherty? Derby played not that good. A lot of goods in there, Josh. Tidy that up. Dave Ojo writes in, very good on the whole finishing. The only disappointment really should have been a hammering. David Bluth writes in, 55 is incoming. I think he's answering the old question to whether we see some silverware this season or not. Curtis just writes in, Nikola Katic. Enough said. Lewis, foot trader / kinda. He writes in, Hollander looks solid. Please can we announce 55? Well, 55, I'm not joking, that's his username, writes in, out of the 4 friendlies, 3 win, 1 draw, not bad. Just hope the consistency continues throughout the entire season. Super Scotty Arfield. Domination against a really good side. Would have been 5 if it wasn't for that guy. Ruse. Yes, I know. I hate him as well, son. And the last 2 or 3 that we'll read out in tonight's video. The first one comes in from Ian White, and he writes, actually can't wait for the season to start, CJ. With the way our squad's looking, and I mean the squad, not just the first team, got a good feeling we're in for a special season. Added we noticed that Aribo we signed as the reincarnation of Patrick Vieira. Lewis Barry writes in, thought we played well at some points, but others it was quite boring. Fair enough, mate. And the last one we read out comes from Michael Morris, and he writes in, this is what Katic offers the team. No other centre-back we have is as prolific in front of goal. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you've heard from the people, you've heard from myself, and if you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. Before we wrap up today's video, and I can finally turn off this lighting equipment, which is basically burning me at this point, I just want to give a special mention and special thank you to all the legends on the Patreon's account, helping to support the channel every single month. If you would like to support the channel, link for that is down there in the description below, and as always, I've been CJ Over 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.